right, what's going on, folks? Welcome to our NFC South video. Today, I've got the man, the myth, the legend with me. I got Chad with me. First time
What's
on
going
here.
on?
I was
What's going on, Brady?
See, the thing is, I love this about Chad because Chad was on time when I said the time and stuff. Chad was on time, but I can't say that about other people and stuff. So Chad, I appreciate you.
No, it's all good, man. I got you.
Exactly.
It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, I knew I was going to like Chad from the moment we brought him on. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So, first team up for the NFC South breakdown is, of course, the Carolina Panthers. Oh my gosh, let me get the photo. Whoops, because yeah, we do that here. We have background photos. There it is. There we go. So yeah, Carolina Panthers are first up. So, as you know, last year under Matt Rule, not the best year, of course. I believe if you have their record, please tell it to me. Because I know they finished in, I believe what was it, last in the NFC South?
Yeah, last. It was like 6-11 or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't remember on the top of my head.
Let's see. NFC South 2022. So, as far as last season, they were okay. Divisions. And then, oh my gosh, why is that so difficult to find?
I know, man.
Okay. And it's still pretty difficult to find. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, last year.
5-12.
Yeah, 5-12. Not the best year. They added Ben McAdoo. That was like their one key addition last year. I mean, their key losses, I can't really name one other than I know Robbie Anderson was considering retirement and stuff, but then he quickly deleted it from his feed and stuff on Twitter. But your thoughts.
Now, let's remember the Carolina Panthers started 3-0 last year, and they were one of the only teams to do that before Christian McCaffrey got hurt. And Sam Darnold was going on a tear to begin the season. I remember he played Thursday Night Football against like the Jets or somebody, and he had like a nice rushing touchdown. I was like, oh my gosh. But then the Panthers kind of balanced out, and Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Could have expected that. Very sad. But Chuba Hubbard is a good replacement, and he played well. But Panthers drafted Matt Corral this year. We're going to see if he's going to play at all. And he's a pretty good backup behind Sam Darnold. I see you chose Sam Darnold as the cover photo here, not Christian McCaffrey. But the addition of Ikem Ekwonu, that's a good one.
I see, and I picked Sam Darnold over Christian McCaffrey for this reason right here. This question, why should we still believe in Christian McCaffrey?
Well, obviously, Christian McCaffrey is one of the most intriguing fantasy players because of all of his receptions, but he's also a very good football player, as we know, as we've seen at Stanford and as we've seen at times with the Panthers. His ball carrier vision and his instinct and his awareness of the game obviously still there, and the only concern really is his injuries. And we ask, could he stay healthy this year? And really, only time will tell.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what scares me. That's what scares me away from taking him in fantasy, and that's what scares me from just like having faith in the Panthers is like he came out so red hot. And I believe it was him and Kamara came out around the same time too. And then like I see where Kamara is and then I see where McCaffrey is, and I'm just like I feel like he's slowly fizzling out. So it's hard for me to get on board.
Yeah, that's definitely reasonable because I was in the same training last year with McCaffrey. I didn't draft him in fantasy, and then he ended up doing great until he got hurt. And just got to keep believing. I still think he's got a little bit left in the tank. How old is he? Is he? Let's see.
Oh, yeah. How old is he?
He is 26, so he still has time. We have to expect the best from him still, and that's what I'm going to be doing. But this is the NFC South, and other than the Buccaneers, we don't really know how this division is really going to pan out. But I think the big question here is Sam Darnold and the Panthers' defense.
Yep, and you keep reading my mind.
Do we believe in Sam Darnold? Man, if we pull up his stats last year, I remember he had he had 13 interceptions over 9 touchdowns. Not what we expected, huh? I thought he might have done a little bit better than that, and he only had 2,500 yards. I don't know if it's a Matt Rule problem. I don't know if it's a Sam Darnold problem. We've seen this before with Sam Darnold, but I think maybe under you two, he could do a little bit better under Matt Rule.
Yeah, 2,527 yards total, 59.9%, basically 60% completion percentage.
Yeah.
9 TDs, 13 interceptions, like you said. Honestly, here's the thing. In my mind, I kind of figured, I was like, okay, he needs a second chance coming from the Jets. And then at the same time, too, I was like, all right, Matt Rule, he lit it up when he was at Baylor in college.
Absolutely.
He might be bringing that to the NFL, and that's kind of what I expected, because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, well, he might be more like the Pete Carroll type versus another type of dude like Steve Spurrier, who was not ready to be an NFL coach, or Nick Saban. But I thought he would have been like so. I mean, it's kind of not looking good right now. So I do think maybe he might need another change of scenery, or he might just be a glorified backup.
I think that's really well said. I think it all comes down to the drafting of Matt Corral. It shows they might not be as intrigued in them as they once were. Matt Corral, big slinger guy at Ole Miss. I really liked his game at Ole Miss. Maybe that was a Matt Rule draft pick. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up at some point this season.
That I can get with that. That's one of those situations. I think Matt Rule needed a guy that he's familiar with, that has played in a big time offense. Because remember, at USC, Sam Darnold didn't play in a big time offense, but in the SEC, Matt Corral at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin, oh yeah, big time offense, and I think that's what he needs to run this system, is a guy like that. So I'm like you. I think we might see him. It's all good. It's all good. He's okay. But yeah, I think at some point we will see Matt Corral. And that brings me to this last question right here, because I honestly have a tough time thinking Matt Corral may not survive to see 2023. So, I mean, who is there?
You mean Matt Rule?
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Matt Rule. I'm sorry.
That's a tough question for me, because I don't really know who are like the free agent coaches who's still available. Do you have any ideas?
You got Chris Richard out there somewhere. It would be dumb of them to promote Ben McAdoo to head coach. Honestly,
Yeah.
that'd be a terrible idea. I think if they get rid of Matt Rule, they need to get rid of the whole entire staff. Because by all means, do not make Ben McAdoo the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. They will not go anywhere for the next 5 years after that. I promise.
I agree, man. Also, one more thing I wanted to add. I didn't realize until recently that the Panthers signed Corey Littleton. He's a nice little linebacker that would be a good addition for them, alongside Shaq Thompson, who's been kind of coming into his own recently, now that Luke Kuechly has been gone for a little bit.
Yes, they have. Also, too, their key games as it comes across the screen: at the Giants versus the Cardinals, at the Bengals versus the Broncos, which could be a pretty big game, and then against the Steelers as well. So, I mean, plus on top of all the NFC South matchups that they have, but those are some pretty big games to keep an eye on.
What do you think their record's going to be? Let's do a record prediction then.
Oh, I see. I'm so used to the whole 11-5 and stuff like that, and 12 thing because of the way the schedule used to fall. But I want to say, let's see. So they went.
It was 5-12 last year.
5-12 last year. I think that they may do one game better and go 6-11.
I'm thinking 5-12 or 6-11. I think it might be 5-12 again.
Yeah, honestly,
really depends on Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, so I mean, if they come out I don't think they're going to come out like gangbusters again, winning 3 straight. But
yeah,
I mean,
they do actually sometimes do good at the beginning of the season, which is kind of funny.
I can't even really say that, but I mean, I will say, look, I think at some point in the season we're going to definitely see Matt Corral, because I think at some point Sam Darnold, the Sam Darnold experiment's going to just be like, this is done. We're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I agree. So in conclusion, we say the Panthers may be 4 for third or maybe fighting for third in the NFC South.
Yeah. Yep. And that brings us to the next team on this list, actually. The team that a lot of people are believing in and everything nowadays. And I'll post Slant Boy up here on the thing. The New Orleans Saints. So with these guys, it's as follows. Last year they went 9-8. They didn't make the playoffs. Cam Jordan constantly being a loudmouth on Twitter like he is, saying that the Saints should be in the playoffs where they rightfully belong. Look, I mean, they added Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu. Those were the two biggest additions. Plus, they drafted Chris Olave. They lost both Sean Payton and Malcolm Jenkins to retirement. Your thoughts? Go ahead.
Well, their defense got better, and that's scary to see as a Bucs fan. And I also can't help but notice they signed Justin Evans, former Buccaneer.
Look, honestly, I love how,
but oh well.
Here's my thing with that. I have a tough time believing in the hype for Justin Evans because to me it's always been like this. You can't make the club in the tub. And his injuries have always been his Achilles heel. So I don't know. I can't buy into what's being sold as far as Justin Evans. I think he's just a glorified backup, in my opinion. And
it's just crazy for me.
It's nothing more than that. But yeah, no, honestly, that is the crazy thing is like the fact that he crawled back the way he has, and it's impressive. It is impressive because he could have gone on and done anything else.
Obviously takes like a toll on them, and it's like hard to get back into the groove of things, especially every week and all this working out and hitting and stuff. So good to see for him, but sorry for interrupting you. I didn't mean to do that. But I just can't also notice the DB depth of the Saints. They have Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor, who they drafted. They have Bradley Roby, veteran. They have PJ Williams, Marshawn Lattimore, and they also have Smoke Monday from Auburn, who's been pretty good.
Yes. Actually, I don't know if you saw it, but Smoke Monday was one of the people that was like, he drove past the Falcons Stadium, Mercedes-Benz up in Atlanta, saying, "You guys promised me you were going to take me. You didn't take me." Oh, wow. And he was on live just like mouthing off about this and stuff.
I remember him against Alabama. He was drafted this year?
Yeah, he was drafted this year. He was one of the top safeties.
Oh, good for him. So, yeah, their safeties are also really good with Marcus May and then Tyrann Mathieu. And then they have, obviously, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's pretty mouthy. And Daniel Sorensen. I like their DB depth.
I love how he just recently started to become very mouthy. I love it.
I know, right? As soon as he joins the Saints. Well, the Saints reclaim the NFC South. My simple answer is no. Not with Jameis Winston. Sorry, not sorry. Maybe Alvin Kamara can. He ain't gonna take this by himself.
Oh God!
Is this the year Jameis finally takes the step? Man, I think he's always just going to be slowly inching up the stairs, but he's never going to get to the top.
Honest, dude. My thing is like it's kind of funny you said that. Like not with Jameis Winston. I mean, look, Jameis. Every year, I don't know what it's like. He always says, or people always say, this is the year. This is the year. There is, I swear, nobody has more faith. As much as the media may try to put him down, there's like year after year so much faith in Jameis.
And I used to be like that too with the Bucs. I believed in him for a long time, and then he threw that pick six against the Falcons, and they're like, "I'm done, it's over." And then obviously he left after that.
I think you and 65 others, 65,000 other people that walked out of Raymond James that day kind of figured that was like the last pass that Jameis would ever throw as a buck.
Absolutely. And then he goes to the number one rival of the Bucs. Yes, the number one rival of the Bucs. And you would think there's no way they're going to support him, and then they do. Which obviously you just support a person. Jameis is a great person, but
yes,
you never know if he's actually going to get to the top.
Yeah, honestly, and see, my thing is like I love the additions and stuff with the Saints, but it's to me you can always like say Super Bowl and you can always say, oh, we're gonna sweep the division and win the division and stuff. You have to actually it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to put the plan into action and actually follow through with it. And this is what I've been telling Ace and stuff. It's like you can talk about it because remember when the Bucs had Deshaun Jackson and Jameis and all those guys and Doug Martin, everybody was thinking Super Bowl and playoffs, and nothing happened. It all went down the drain so fast.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what this could be. But they have to again, I do have the Saints do have a better offensive line than what the Bucs did have at that time. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll say they have a better defense than last year, that's for sure, and that's concerning. But I will say this is one thing everyone needs to keep an eye out for. They have a hole at left tackle, and that's a big hole when it comes to Jameis Winston, the blind side. And They had a really good guy who retired. But I can't think of his name right now. I'm having a brain fart.
Oh, my gosh. It wasn't Teron Armstead. It wasn't him.
No, it was Teron Armstead.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. And Ryan Ramczyk is at the other side. He's one of the top right tackles. But this whole left tackle could be big. And they did draft Trevor Penning, but we don't know how quick he's going to come about. And rookie year in the NFL is going to be hard when you be playing against Akeem Hicks, Logan Hall, all those people in your division. And Brian Burns, don't forget that.
Oh, yes. Well, Brian Burns in Carolina. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. So for the Saints, key games include as follows. Week 2, they get the Bucs at home. They get the Bengals in a huge Louisiana outing. They have to go to Baltimore, play the Ravens. They get the Rams at home, luckily. And they have to go to the Eagles, who a lot of people have a lot of faith in this season.
That's an action-packed schedule, and the NFC South has an action-packed schedule in general next year, so it's going to be hard for the Saints to win a lot of these games. I remember the last time they went to Baltimore. I was actually there. Drew Brees and the Saints, they beat the Ravens, and Justin Tucker missed the game-winning kick.
The one time you expect Justin Tucker to make it. Wow.
I know, right?
That's insane. That whole sequence is tough. So, and that's a lot of tough defenses for Jameis. So, if there is a year for Jameis to really take the next step, this is it.
Absolutely.
Boy, ooh. So you asked me last time. So let me ask you record prediction for Saints.
I'm gonna have to stay in the same ballpark as I did with the Panthers. I'm gonna go one less again because of this brutal schedule. I'm gonna go 8-9. It's definitely it could be a hot take for some, but that's what I'm thinking right now. But I do think Chris Olave will be a bright spot. Mark my words.
Okay.
Also, we don't know if Michael Thomas will be back immediately, so all of that stuff factors in.
And I can agree with that too, because I will also say I do not know if Alvin Kamara will be available right away as well.
True.
And with that now swings us to here right here at home, Tampa Bay. So as we all know, the Bucs, they lost some key pieces. They lost JPP, Jordan Whitehead, Ronald Jones, Alex Kappa. They picked up Shaq Mason. I believe I'm saying his name right. Shaq Mason. They picked up Logan Ryan, Russell Gage. Plus on top of that too, their draft picks. So the floor is yours right away. Would you say that they are the favorite to win the NFC South?
Yes, obviously it's the Bucs division. Everyone else is just living in it. That's what we think right now. I've seen all the games last year. I've been to all those games, and I think the Bucs should be okay. I do like the signing, or not the signing, the drafting and signing of Rashad White. I think that could be underrated signing as time goes on. He's a big target hog for Tom Brady. Chris Godwin should be out for a good bit of time, but Russell Gage, also another good underrated signing. He actually used to do really good against the Bucs. I remember that. His second game against the Bucs, he had like 10 catches for like 125. But
so now let me ask you this: this whole thing with Julio Jones, how realistic does that feel?
Huge Julio Jones fan here. I'm an Alabama fan till I die, so I think Julio Jones is one of the better wide receivers of this generation. I do not see him as a fit for the Bucs, though. All that injury history, it's only going to go downhill from here, and it's sad to say, but I do not see him as a fit for my favorite team.
I could feel that. You got to be careful with this whole PWI thing on with penalty talk. We've been shamed before, Chad.
Oh,
well, I know. Yeah, it's okay. No, you're fine. We'll protect you. But according to some, we're sellouts because we watch the SEC on CBS at 3:30. But that's fine. We don't. I really don't care. I'm still gonna watch what I want to watch.
I'm an SEC fan, guys. It's the best conference in football and soon to be basketball. Big Ten, you're close. Big 12, you're all right. ACC.
No, look,
sorry for the hot take, everyone.
You're good. You're good. Honestly, I'd rather watch the SEC and the SWAC any day. So,
SWAC is cool too.
Yeah, but now this one too. Some people say it's not. But is this the last dance for Brady?
I know the team. When he obviously retired, I was surprised for sure because you saw after that touchdown by Cooper Kupp, you saw Tom Brady was visibly upset. He was really mad about that. Everyone was. Bad call by Todd Bowles. Hopefully he learned from that. But you knew he was going to go again. And then when he said he would retire, it's like, what? So I do think this is his last go. And now that Rob's not here either, I do think we're going to try one more time. And we got a little bit better. I like the offensive line upgrade. And I just hope the DBs go hold it down this time.
I agree. I fully agree. I do think, and I'll say this, I don't know how, and I don't understand how that happened, but as being a former DB, I know for a fact you are supposed to never let the man get behind you. If you're playing the clock and stuff, and you know they're running a 2-minute, you want to keep everything in front of you as much as possible. There's no excuse for Cooper Kupp getting behind you like he did. There's no excuse.
Absolutely. And then you saw Winfield doing everything he could, but it was just a bad call at the bad time.
Oh, very much. And then I think Jordan Whitehead was supposed to be on the field too when that happened, which is pretty crazy.
And you would think Jordan Whitehead would be on the team if that didn't happen.
That's true too.
That's
I can get behind that too. So I mean, I think they'll be fine. The thing that everybody should know is that every time Tom Brady doesn't make the Super Bowl, he typically tends to go right back.
That is a good stat to keep in mind. Also, we know that the team is going to be motivated from this, and they're going to give it one last run for Tom, and they're going to give it their all. I expect the Bucs to win the NFC South, and I'm going to give them a record prediction of 12-5.
12. I can get with that. 12 usually tends to be the magic number as far as. I can get with that.
But I want to rewind back to the Saints. I do think the Saints can take one from the Bucs. It's going to be one of those fluke games, though.
So you don't have the Bucs getting swept this year by the Saints. You think that the Bucs finally cracked the code in the regular season?
Oh, we don't know yet. We hope. We can only hope.
This is true because honestly, you're more into it. You're more in it to win it than I am because right now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, look, I know for a fact the Bucs are going to lose 2 games.
Oh yeah.
I know for a fact. And I know for a fact it's going to be one of them is going to be here and another one's going to be in New Orleans. So I can already chalk up 2 losses. Outside of
Yeah,
that, though,
man.
I think they're sold and they're solid. Rest.
They're gonna have some great games against the Bengals
But
and the Ravens.
oh yeah, actually yes, that's the other one too that I meant to point out. So key games do include week 1 at the Cowboys on Sunday night, the Chiefs on Sunday night, the Packers, a home game against the Saints, and then that
Wow.
home game late in the season against the Bengals, which could be a Super Bowl preview. I know
Maybe.
it's loaded. The whole thing is just loaded. So
Yeah, we love it.
it's gonna be an interesting thing to see. And with that, that'll now bring us to our. Oh my goodness, I went to the wrong one. Good
Last
Lord.
but not least, right, guys? Huh? Right?
Yes. Okay.
It
Is it going to pop me? Last but not least, the Atlanta Falcons. If it pops up. Yes, it did pop up. Awesome. So yeah, last year, the Falcons not last, not the worst, but 7-10 in the NFC South. They added They made some key additions. They added Marcus Mariota. They drafted Drake London and Desmond Ritter. Not really too much sure about whatever else. Oh, Casey Hayward and Auden Tate as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good pickup. That was a good pickup. Auden Tate as well, which is another person I feel like is slept on. He's one of those more slept on wide receivers coming out of Florida State. So I do think that was a pretty decent signing. But yeah, go ahead, Chad. Your thoughts?
The Falcons are actually the team I have the least knowledge on because all of the stuff that's been going on recently, obviously the wide receivers have been kind of like shifted around. It's now Drake London, Brian Edwards, and Olamide Zaccheaus. Pretty sure I said that right.
Right.
Not too familiar on Olamade's game. I don't know how he would be as a slot receiver, but I do like the big, tall stretch of Brian Edwards and Drake London and the outside for the receivers. Marcus Mariota, we've had this conversation before. Is Marcus Mariota better than Jameis Winston? Now we're going to find out this year in year, 7? They're both going to be in the same division. It's going to be good to see.
Yes, and, 7. Oh my gosh, we're getting old.
It's something like that. But their defense is the biggest question mark. Obviously, their biggest strengths are their corners. A.J. Terrell had a very good year last year, and he is Pro Bowl caliber. And Casey Hayward is a perfect complement for that to learn from. I like their linebackers too, though. Rashawn Evans and Deion Jones.
Yes.
Also,
yes.
Grady Jarrett.
That whole defense is like the core is still there, is what people forget. Also, too, they did lose Matt Ryan and they lost Mike Davis. So those were 2 big loss. Well, Mike Davis wasn't really a big loss, but losing Matt Ryan was also a big loss. So that, I guess I could ask you that question next is, was getting rid of Matt Ryan a good idea?
It was a good idea for Matt Ryan, and it was a good idea for the Falcons. Maybe not. I've always liked Matt Ryan. I don't really mind the backlash he gets. I think he's a pretty good player. I don't know if he was ever going to win it in the Falcons. He had his chance, and obviously that didn't work out. But I think that the move for him to Indianapolis was good. But for the Falcons, they definitely downgraded.
I agree. And here's the thing, and it's not all Falcons fans. It's not all Falcons fans, but it's some of them. And it's always, this whole thing of like, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of Matt Ryan. I'm so sick of Matt Ryan. I used to hear it almost every homecoming whenever I would get into a NFL discussion with somebody. It's always, I'm sick of Matt Ryan and I can't stand him. And now I'm like, look, y'all wanted Matt Ryan gone for the last 3 years after Super Bowl 51. We're going to find out just how much you really wanted Matt Ryan gone. Because if you thought it was bad with Matt Ryan, if you didn't think 7-10 was bad, I really think it could. how low can you go?
And I think it would be a stretch to say you weren't shocked by Desmond Ridder being selected so early, seeing they see a lot of potential in him.
No, and see, you keep reading my mind, man. You keep reading my mind.
Yeah, Mariota or Ritter. I think this is going to be a project for them. They're going to find out soon enough in training camp and stuff, but they might switch around often. And there's one more thing I wanted to add. I do like the drafting of Tyler Algier. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, but he was a bell cow at BYU, and he can actually end up taking over a Cordero Patterson role in the future.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I think they lost Cordell Patterson in free agency.
Well, on the depth chart, it says he's still there. I don't believe he went to a different. He might be injured though.
Okay, he is still there. Okay, so that means I need to wait a little while to add him in fantasy. He'll just sit on my waiver wire for a little while, and then I'll probably bring him up, it's all good. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I can get with that because I mean, look, Cordell Patterson, he's not getting any younger, and I think you can't keep using him as a Swiss Army knife to do everything because eventually, like he is now, he's injured and he's going to get worn down. So you have to find a way to get a long-standing, reliable running back and utilize Cordell Patterson for what he was meant for, wide receiver and kick returns.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I was going to ask you this one too for the Falcons is how did we get here? But I think we all can kind of reflect on how Super Bowl 51 went and look at the events that followed.
That's basically what happened. And you look at the signings after that, there was never anything that was like super, super splash worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And Casey Hayward might have been one of their biggest signings in the past couple of years this year. Grady Jarrett obviously has always been a good player, and AJ Terrell is coming into his own. But other than that, I haven't seen many superb moves from the GM and the owner and the coach, which leads us to this. I don't see the Falcons as a contender this year. I think they will still be fighting for third or fourth place with the Panthers, and I see them being around 6-12 or not 6-12, 6-11.
Okay, so you think that they could still finish in third place?
Yeah, they'll be fighting with the Panthers.
Yeah. Okay, so that's doable. I think that's attainable. It's not as bad as I figured it could get, but I think that is quite doable for them.
I might be a little bit too harsh on all these NFC South teams, but they do have to play the Bucs, and they have a harsh schedule this year. These are my biggest factors into it. But I do think
I agree. Honestly, if this was an easier slate, like say, oh my gosh, if this was an easier slate, like say the NFC North and the AFC South, then I think it would be more competitive and less grueling gauntlet to run through. But this is the NFC. No, this is the AFC West. A couple of teams from the AFC North, and then you have the NFC South opponents. Like this is gonna be pretty tough this year.
Absolutely, it's gonna be a good season.
Exactly. So good luck. So yeah, I could definitely see most of these numbers playing out and stuff. But yeah, with that, we've reached the end of our NFC South preseason breakdown. I will say thank you to Chad for joining me for this.
Great to be here.
If you haven't already. Also, too, he's coming back for the I believe it was the AFC North breakdown.
East. I'll be here to talk about the Patriots, the Dolphins, Jets. Let's do it.
Yeah, so he'll be back for the AFC East. So make sure y'all check out that video as well. But with all due respect, make sure you check us out on all social media platforms down below on the little ticker scrolling across. And as always, appreciate you, Chad. Y'all stay blessed. We'll see you on the next episode.